Chosen one, take a moment to breathe and sense the divine presence surrounding you. This isn't just another video, it's a sacred moment ordained by God. You weren't scrolling aimlessly, you were led here by a heavenly pull. When you saw the bold 333 on the thumbnail, something stirred deep within, urging you to click, didn't it? In Christian life, 333 symbolizes divine completeness and the perfect harmony of God's will, often seen as a sign of His call to action and spiritual awakening. Could this be a divine signal that your daughter needs your prayers and strength right now? This is no random occurrence. It's a holy appointment written into your story by the Creator Himself. What brought you to this video today? Is there a quiet nudge in your spirit, a sense that God is revealing something critical about your daughter's path? Maybe it's a call to stand firm in faith, to intercede, or to trust His protection over her. This message holds urgent truth designed to equip and empower you for what's ahead. Stay until the end, as every word carries divine purpose to ignite your courage and clarity. Hit like to anchor yourself in this moment. Subscribe to join a global community of chosen ones, and in the comments, drop 3003 along with your city or country. Sharing where you're watching from, be it a small village or a vibrant metropolis, connects you with others in this powerful call to faith. Let's unite as one, ready to receive the revelation God has for you and your daughter. Chosen ones, pause everything, because what you are about to hear will shift the atmosphere around you. This moment isn't a coincidence, it's a divine appointment. You didn't scroll to this message by accident. Heaven has orchestrated this encounter because something sacred, something immense is moving around your daughter's life, and you are being summoned to see it, speak into it, and stand for it. They think they can tamper with her destiny, but they don't know who they're dealing with, because her name has already been marked in fire, etched into the eternal records of heaven by the hand of the Almighty Himself. They believe they can redirect her path through whispers, but heaven has already assigned angels to secure her steps. They believe she is vulnerable, but God has declared her covered. They think no one is watching. But Psalm chapter 121 verse 4 proclaims, "He who neither slumbers nor sleeps." And now He has awakened you. You are not a bystander. You are not here to watch. You are the appointed watchman on the wall, the spiritual guardian chosen by heaven to rise in this exact hour. Don't scroll. Don't look away. Don't treat this lightly, because right here, right now, her future is being sealed in your awareness, in your voice, and in your obedience. Pay attention before this night concludes. A sign will appear, perhaps subtle like a dream. A word she utters unexpectedly, or a moment that feels strangely sacred. This is your affirmation, heaven's quiet signal. You heard correctly, the enemy's plan is exposed, and the restoration has begun. Your daughter is shielded. Draw closer, for this revelation unveils the hidden. Secret discussions are taking place, decisions crafted in spaces she's never entered. They aim to dictate her life without her knowledge, to divert her destiny without her input. Yet they overlooked one truth. Archangel Michael stands as her protector, not idly, but as a blazing sword severing every misguided connection. Still, heaven calls to you, for this victory requires more than angelic intervention. It demands your insight, your declarations, and your trust. Chosen one, know this. Your daughter bears an unseen burden, a spiritual tension she can't articulate. It feels as if something pulls at her spirit, distracting her, clouding her purpose. Perhaps you've noticed the sudden hush in her voice, the changes in her demeanor, the times her gaze drifts. This isn't trivial. It's not a chance. It's not merely life. It's the spiritual strain of a soul marked for greatness, yet targeted by opposition. A scheme exists to lure her from heaven's path, to ensnare her in a dazzling but empty promise to guide her toward fleeting praise rather than divine calling. But God is revealing this through you. You are her foremost shield, entrusted with discernment while others remain unaware. Heaven chose you, not someone louder, stronger, or more prominent. Why? Because your heart resonates with hers, because your spirit is attuned to detect deception, because heaven trusts you to pray, to watch, to rise. And heaven declares what you perceive you can transform. This is beyond insight. It's divine redirection. Heaven declares, "We gave you this daughter because she carries a rare seed of greatness. And chosen one, listen to this carefully. The seed of greatness will always attract opposition. Some will recognize the seed and honor it. Others will see it and try to suffocate it. Some will try to steal it, to shape it, to silence it. This is spiritual law. Just as Exodus chapter 1 verse 16 reveals that Pharaoh ordered the death of Hebrew sons because of what they might become, and Matthew chapter 2 verse 16 recounts how Herod sought the Christ child to destroy him before his voice was heard, so too will darkness attempt to silence what heaven has ordained. But it will not prevail because you have stepped into the story. Even now, imagine your daughter standing unknowingly at a crossroads. One path glitters. It looks full of life, but it is empty. The other path looks quiet, unassuming, but it is lined with angels drenched in purpose and protected by divine fire. They are baiting her toward the glittering path with empty promises. But your awareness, your spiritual clarity has just shifted the outcome because now you see it. And chosen one you're seeing is the beginning of her breakthrough. Even at this moment, a soft wind is moving. That is not your imagination. That is the Spirit confirming that this message is real and this moment is holy. What should you do now? Stay vigilant, pray earnestly, and observe carefully. Focus on the subtle details, her words, her silences, the changes in her patterns, the heaviness in her pauses. Heaven speaks quietly but clearly. Record what you notice and pray over it. Respond not with fear but with resolve. Your awareness is your first weapon in this spiritual battle. There's no need for panic or haste. Stand firm. God doesn't ask you to bear the outcome, but to hold the light. Recall Esther, who wasn't crowned queen merely for beauty. Esther, chapter 4, verse 14, reminds us that she was placed for such a time as this. Her insight into Haman's plot saved a nation. Your insight now could redirect a life. Never doubt the power of your voice. Job chapter 22 verse 28 assures, "You will also decree a thing, and it will be established for you." You hold authority to speak peace into her thoughts, to nullify secret agreements made against her, to cancel assignments not ordained by heaven. This isn't mere understanding, it's spiritual warfare. And you weren't just called, you were equipped. Chosen one, this is why you're here. This is why this message found you, because the battle may be silent, but the call is loud. And God in His mercy didn't wait for the damage. He sent you a warning before the blow, revelation, before the confusion, clarity, before chaos. And now, the enemy's grip is breaking. Right now, in this very moment, the net they've been weaving is unraveling, because light has entered the hidden place. And where the light shines, darkness must flee. This is the reversal. This is the heavenly reordering, not because the enemy gave up, but because you woke up. Stay alert. Stay present. Don't miss what the Spirit is whispering, because while they're still trying to plot in the shadows, you are now standing in revelation. And revelation always wins. Chosen one. Pause now for the words you're about to receive. Carry heaven's authority. This moment is no accident. The Spirit of God has guided you here as a sacred unveiling unfolds. Secrets hidden in darkness are now illuminated by the Almighty's light. This is your time to perceive, to stand firm, and to declare life over what is yours. Your daughter's future is being safeguarded at this very moment, and you, yes, you are, heaven's chosen vessel. Once this message concludes, small signs will emerge, a name repeated unexpectedly. A call that feels oddly timed, a phrase from her that stirs your soul. These aren't random, they are divine signals, heaven's confirmation that you walk in revelation. The Lord is sharpening your discernment, awakening your spirit to His movements. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 12 declares, "Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both." And today He is opening both within you. So don't skip. Don't rush away from this, because in the unseen world, heaven's warrior is already moving. The veil over your eyes is being lifted. Light is being marked along your daughter's path, step by step. but the angels can only move in alignment with your awareness. Heaven needs your heart awake and your voice steady. That's why this word found you, because your prayer, your faith, your recognition are the catalysts for breakthrough. Everything that has been planned against her is being dismantled the moment you step fully into your God-given authority. Hear this whisper from heaven. Everything they have plotted will turn to nothing when you rise. Your presence carries weight in the spiritual realm. Your words carry power. The moment you speak light, darkness loses its grip. Your very breath, when filled with faith, scatters the enemy's plans like dust in the wind. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17 confirms, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." This is not theory, it's reality unfolding as you listen. Stay focused, for this is where the curtain parts, revealing the enemy's hidden schemes. This is where your daughter's protection shines brilliantly. For months, unseen forces have spun webs around her life deceptions, masked as kindness, manipulations, cloaked as possibilities. Behind warm smiles lurk ulterior motives. Seemingly innocent invitations hide traps. They've crafted a false vision, a doorway disguised as destiny but empty within. They believe you'll overlook it, distracted by the mundane. But heaven has torn their veil, delivering this message as proof their time is over. Chosen one, your daughter stands at a spiritual fork. One river flows with peace growth and divine favor, God's chosen course. The other glitters with false allure, tempting yet lifeless. That's the deceptive path they've nudged her toward. But the instant you engaged with this message, that false path began to crumble. Their trap is unraveling. Heaven stirred the moment your spirit aligned with this truth. Even now, the guardian of divine order is shifting the atmosphere around her. You might not see it yet, but something is stirring in the unseen. Every prayer you whisper, every declaration you speak, every moment you choose awareness over fear. You are constructing a fortress around her. Your awareness is the doorway for her rescue. And this is why at times she said she feels safe without knowing why. That sense of peace is not random. That calm is not a coincidence. That's the brush of angel wings, Michael's presence tracing the air around her. He is reinforcing what your prayers have built. The Spirit is saying to you right now, keep your eyes open. You are witnessing the invisible becoming visible. Don't skip. Stay until the end. Because what's happening next is holy. In this very moment, 3 angels stand stationed at the threshold of her journey. They have been waiting for your recognition, waiting for your voice to align. The moment you began to listen, something shifted. The moment you believed, something broke. You may not feel it yet, but soon you will. It might come as a deep peace settling suddenly upon your home. It might be a dream that feels more real than waking life. It might be a phrase from your daughter that pierces your heart like a prophecy. That is the sign, the confirmation that heaven is guiding her back to the rightful path. The enemy sought to mute her voice, but now it will resound with greater strength. They aim to sap her joy, yet it will surge like a mighty stream. They plotted to rob her future, but it is being renewed as you embrace this truth. Where they sowed deceit, God is restoring with radiance. What they intended for harm, heaven has transformed for blessing. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 proclaims, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. And so it shall be for her." Do not underestimate this moment. Your listening, believing, and awareness have ignited a divine shift. Heaven's wheels turned the moment you encountered these words. By the time you finish, the reversal will be complete. Confusion will yield to clarity, scattering will give way to peace, and attempts to derail her purpose will propel her deeper into it. And as this unfolds, heaven instructs you begin to bless your home daily. Each morning when you rise, speak light over your space. Say aloud, "My home is covered by divine fire. No darkness may enter." Every night before you sleep, thank God for the angels already moving on your family's behalf, because they are unceasingly, silently, powerfully working for you. You are not alone in this battle. You are surrounded by strength. Let the rhythm of your faith set the rhythm of your household. Let your prayers become the language of your atmosphere. Because what you speak repeatedly in faith becomes what heaven establishes permanently in truth. This is the secret they never wanted you to know. Your awareness is her armor. Every time you open your eyes to the signs, the darkness loses ground. Every time you choose prayer over panic, light expands its territory. Every time you affirm who she truly is, beloved, chosen, covered, you reinforce the walls of her protection. Heaven's work is far from done, for this narrative is not rooted in fear, but in triumph. This revelation isn't meant to alarm you, it's meant to awaken you. You are being positioned as the intercessor, the link between peril and purpose, and heaven rejoices in sharing its secrets with those who reflect its heart. Amos chapter 3 verse 7 states, "Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets." And in this moment, you are walking in that prophetic insight. So keep your eyes open, keep your heart soft. When you feel a sudden peace settle, know heaven is speaking. When you sense a strange stirring, know angels are moving. When your daughter smiles unexpectedly after days of heaviness, know the tide has turned. This is not a coincidence. This is a covenant. And you chosen one are living proof that heaven still intervenes. The message is simple yet profound. What the enemy planned has already been reversed. The reversal began the moment you listened. It will be complete by the time your faith settles into certainty. So hold fast, stand strong. Continue to speak light, and remember the one who began this good work is faithful to finish it. For even now, as the dawn prepares to break, heaven whispers over your home, "Peace be still, the storm has passed, the light has come." And so it is. Draw near. This is where heaven entrusts you with keys, not only to understanding, but to safeguarding intercession and breakthrough. These spiritual tools empower you to see with clarity, speak with boldness, and stand unshaken as you protect the future heaven has designed for your daughter. From the moment you engaged this message, a transformation began. A gentle yet potent stream of light enveloped her, shielding her. Each word you've absorbed has acted like a spiritual sword, severing ties of confusion and dismantling the web spun around her in secret. Now heaven lifts the curtain, granting you clear vision. The scheme is exposed not to instill fear, but to ensure you're never deceived again. Listen carefully, a moment is coming, and it will seem small, subtle, almost ordinary. A comment, a sound, a dream. Perhaps your daughter will say a name she's never mentioned before. Perhaps you'll hear a knock that feels strangely timed. Perhaps something will come in the form of a memory or a moment that pierces you unexpectedly. That will not be random. That will be heaven's whisper saying, "The shift has begun." The ones who plan to lead her away are losing their grip. Their whispers are turning into static. Their meetings are unraveling. The door they intended to walk her through, the one they dressed in false gold, is slamming shut in their faces. And in its place, the Spirit is opening a new door, one of clarity, of joy, of divine protection. And you are being positioned to stand beside her at that threshold as the witness of this divine correction. Through your vigilance, you are weaving a radiant shield around her. Every faithful word you speak forms a barricade. Every tear shed in prayer becomes a bulwark. Every breath of hope strengthens the divine barrier encircling her. Now her angelic guardians, warriors, robed in splendor, stand at every point of this shield, encompassing her from all sides. This is why she will soon feel lighter, clearer, more herself. This isn't a fleeting mood or mere chance, it's the burden lifting. This is the power of heaven aligning with a parent's awakened spirit. When a guardian's eyes are opened, the enemy's hold is shattered. And now, hear this secret from the courts of heaven. They cannot bring her because she has already been carried. Carried by the prayers you've whispered in the dark. Carried by the nights you wept and heaven caught every tear. Carried by the hands of angels who have never left her side, not since the moment she took her first breath. This is the mystery the enemy never understood. They thought they were targeting someone isolated. What they didn't know was that she's wrapped in a covenant, and you chosen one, you are living at the edge of something sacred. What was once hidden is now becoming visible. Pay close attention. The shadows are exposing themselves. Conversations are slipping out. Faces are revealing motives before words are spoken. The things done in darkness are now stepping into the light, not by accident, but by divine command. This is your proof that heaven is moving. Envision this. Your daughter, once enveloped by chaos, now feels a gentle calm descending. Where confusion once muddled her thoughts, clarity now emerges. The voices that once swayed her lose their allure. Doors meant to ensnare her close, silently, without reason. This isn't fortune, it's the divine reversal unfolding. As it progresses, you'll see signs subtle yet undeniable. A change in her words, a dream she recalls vividly, a message arriving with uncanny timing. Don't dread these moments, they are heaven's markers, affirming her gentle return to God's path. Her angelic protector moves deliberately, guarding her every step. Your task is to remain steadfast, your heart anchored, your eyes alert. This is spiritual warfare, but you're not fighting alone. Those who once planned to lead her into a snare will soon be baffled. They won't understand why their words no longer land, why her interest fades, why her presence is no longer available to them. They will meet resistance they cannot name, an invisible wall they cannot climb, and you don't owe them an explanation. Their confusion is not your burden, it's heaven's justice. And now, receive this holy promise wrapped within this part of the message. Every attempt to pull her away will become a testimony. What was meant to bend her will instead strengthen her spine. What was meant to dim her will ignite her light. What was meant to break her will become the platform for her voice. What the enemy built as a snare, God is transforming into a stage for her glory. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 21. Assures many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Her story is not in their grasp. It never was. The author and finisher of her faith continues to write. This is the shift you've awaited. Even now, heaven is equipping you to speak in ways that make this reversal enduring, not fleeting. When you proclaim life in harmony with heaven, darkness loses its foothold permanently. In your daily life, begin nurturing her inner trust. Create space for her spirit to breathe. Encourage her to record her dreams, to note when peace arrives or unease lingers. These aren't mere emotions, but divine cues. Teach her to heed the unease, to embrace the calm, to recognize the quiet convictions that outshine any voice. Let discernment become her voice. For when a daughter learns to hear the Holy Spirit herself, the enemy's influence fades forever. And when she follows God's whisper over the world's clamor, her path aligns, her purpose sharpens, and her spirit rises. So don't step away, don't scroll, don't brush this off as just another message. You're standing on the holy ground of real-time transformation. A testimony is being written, and it bears your fingerprints. This is the moment. This is the turn. This is the clarity. And what's ahead? It's more than restoration, it's resurrection. The future that felt fragile is about to rise with new fire. The plan meant to harm is now the blueprint for victory. And even now, right now, as you breathe in this word, the sunrise begins. Stay awake, stay aware, stay in it. You're not just hearing a message, you're living a miracle, beloved. The atmosphere around you has transformed, glowing with divine insight, though unseen by the natural eye. You're not merely receiving a message, you're stepping into divine guidance. This isn't just knowledge for your mind, but a spiritual blueprint. Heaven has placed a sacred strategy in your hands, not to inform, but to secure what it has begun in your daughter's life. Don't hurry through this or glance over it. This is where purpose meets authority. All that came before was preparation. Heaven opened your eyes, and now it ignites your voice. You stand not as a worried parent, but as a spiritual architect, your words, awareness, and presence shaping the very air around you. This is the divine mandate from heaven. Proclaim with the authority of one entrusted with dominion. Boldly affirm your daughter's identity as if etching an unbreakable boundary that no enemy can cross. Let this truth sink deep into your spirit, anchoring itself in the core of your being. Your voice is no longer just sound. It is a sacred barrier, a wall of light forged by faith. Each time you speak words of hope, truth, and blessing over her, you are constructing an invisible fortress, a spiritual stronghold she may not yet perceive, but stands within, shielded by your love and heaven's power. Many fail to see this subtle reality. The enemy's attacks are not always overt threats or visible dangers. Often he weaves his schemes through subtler means, clouds of confusion that obscure her path, counterfeit promises that mimic divine purpose, or distractions that pull her focus from her calling. But you chosen one have been divinely equipped to pierce through this haze. Your role is not to reason through the fog with mere logic, but to wield the sharp edge of truth, cutting away deception with clarity born of the Spirit. Heaven instructs you when your daughter voices confusion, do not mirror her uncertainty or add to the chaos. Instead, respond with unwavering clarity, offering words that anchor her in peace. Speak tranquility into the unnamed storms that swirl within her, calming the turbulence she cannot yet articulate. This kind of presence, steady, grounded, and spirit-led, disrupts the enemy's static, silencing his whispers and restoring divine order. Even now, as these words resonate in your heart, a new clarity is dawning within you, rising like the first light of morning. Faces, names, conversations, and patterns that once seemed vague are coming into focus. This is not mere recollection or coincidence. It is discernment, a gift from the Holy Spirit illuminating the spiritual battlefield. You are no longer merely reacting to circumstances, scrambling to keep up. You are stepping into a prophetic stance, moving with purpose, guided by divine insight and empowered to shape the outcome with intention. At your side, unseen by mortal eyes, yet ever present in the spiritual realm, stands a mighty angelic guardian, a sentinel of heaven holding a sacred scroll. This scroll is no ordinary document. It is inscribed with your daughter's destiny, written not in fleeting ink, but in the eternal flame of God's will. Each act of faith you undertake, every moment you choose to trust, every declaration of life you speak, every lie you rebuke, causes this scroll to blaze brighter, its words glowing with divine authority. Heaven's command is clear. Hold her name in holy reverence as if it were a treasure entrusted to you by the Almighty. Speak her name aloud even when she is not near, and bless it with the fervor of a heart aligned with God's purpose. With every blessing you pronounce, you release a surge of heavenly light, forging spiritual armor around her and shaping a reality where God's will prevails and the enemy's schemes crumble like ash. Stay vigilant, for a sign is coming, a subtle yet unmistakable marker of heaven's movement. It may appear in a phrase she repeats without thinking, a fleeting glance that carries unspoken weight, or an object she places in your hand that stirs your spirit. In that moment, your heart will leap with recognition, and you will know this is it. The veil is parting. The Holy Spirit is affirming the truth. The transformation has begun, and the path ahead is shifting under divine guidance. Know this with unshakable certainty. You are never merely raising a child. You are called to steward a divine purpose, entrusted with a sacred mission that transcends the ordinary. You chosen ones were selected by God because He foresaw your readiness, your willingness to stand awake and alert when the critical moment arrived. And beloved, that moment is now unfolding before you in this very hour. Your encounter with this message is not a product of chance or happenstance. It is evidence of your calling, a confirmation that heaven has summoned you to this pivotal role. Within this truth lies a holy mystery, a divine secret unveiled. Every scheme crafted in the shadows, every plot woven to distort her identity is being overturned by the hand of God. The very words the enemy used to twist her truth are being transformed into stepping stones that will elevate her into her authentic self. The places where they sought to ensnare her, to pull her into counterfeit paths, will become the very stages from which she proclaims freedom, her voice a beacon to others. What was intended to silence her, to dim her light, will instead become a resounding call that awakens those around her. This is not merely a reversal of the enemy's plans. It is a resurrection, a divine restoration that breathes new life into what was targeted for destruction. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 proclaims, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. This promise underscores her divine appointment and your role in guarding it. The story is turning once again, moving from revelation to fulfillment. Until this point, heaven has been exposing what was hidden, pulling back the curtain on the enemy's schemes. But now a new chapter dawns, revealing what emerges after the storm has passed. The winds that once roared have stilled, the clouds that darkened her path have parted, and the ground beneath her feet now radiates with the promise of new beginnings. This moment is not just about protection, it is about preparation, a divine setup for what lies ahead. The angels who once stood as her protectors, shielding her from harm, are now her guides, leading her toward a future written by the hand of God. Keep your eyes fixed on her journey, for in the days to come, her path will bloom with divine appointments, encounters orchestrated by heaven itself. She will meet individuals she could never have sought out on her own, people whose presence will feel like a gift from the divine. She will hear words that resonate deep within her soul, as if they were written for her long before she was born. She will step into spaces that once seemed unreachable, doors swinging open not by human effort, but by the favor of the Almighty. This is heaven's bold proclamation. Their ending was never mine. I am the author, and my story has only just begun. You chosen one are witness to this unfolding masterpiece, a narrative of redemption and purpose that will echo through generations. As the divine protection over your own path begins to unfold with unshakable clarity, new urgency from heaven now turns toward the most vulnerable in your life. The same forces that schemed against you have shifted their gaze to someone precious, someone innocent. What was once a hidden battle for your peace has now become a desperate warning for her safety. Listen closely. Chosen one, because the trap set for you was only the beginning. Not the people watching your every move, waiting for you to fall. Not those setting traps in the dark. No, someone higher. One whose eyes miss nothing. The one who sees through every lie, every manipulation, every carefully crafted facade, and he's already made his judgment. Proverbs chapter 15 verse 3 confirms that the eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. This is not your downfall, it's your divine reveal. You may not see it yet, but the very ones who are trying to discredit you, who are quietly building a false story about you, will soon be caught in the net they cast for you. Pride will trip them. Their own words will expose them. Not because you argued, not because you fought, but because the truth has its own timing and it's divine. The moment they've waited for the evidence, they've tried to gather the conversations, they've twisted it, will all vanish like mist. Systems will glitch. Screens will go blank. Recordings will corrupt. The very tools they use to trap you will turn on them, and no one will be able to explain why. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17 mentions that no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. They'll panic. They'll scramble to fix it. They'll call others in, but heaven is already ahead of them. You won't have to say a single word. Your silence will speak louder than anything they could have accused you of. Events will unfold that prove your innocence without you lifting a finger. The narrative will shift in such a way that the same people who gossiped behind your back will now fall silent, unable to comprehend how quickly everything reversed, and it will be public. It will be clear. This is the moment where heaven says enough. But Psalm chapter 37 verse 13 reveals that the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. Archangel Michael has spoken. This is your season of divine exposure. Those who schemed in shadows will now panic in daylight. Why? Because they weren't just scheming against you. They were standing in defiance against what God ordained. And heaven will never let that stand. You were not the victim. You were the test. And they failed. This is why you felt that pressure in your spirit. Not because you're in danger, but because the truth is aligning and something massive is about to break loose. You're not waiting for justice in the human sense. You're about to experience a kind of justice that can't be reversed, delayed, or silenced. No lawyers, no courtroom, just God's hand. It will be quiet, sudden, unstoppable. You see, long before the trap was set, your protection was already in place. God wrote this part of your story not with fear, but with glory. He allowed the setup only because he had already scripted the reversal. What they meant to bury you with will become the very reason you rise. Think of Joseph in Genesis, betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, falsely accused and imprisoned. And yet in time he rose to power. And those same brothers had to bow before the one they betrayed. Not because Joseph sought revenge, but because God turned the betrayal into purpose. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 affirms that you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done. That's what's happening to you now. What was meant to discredit you is becoming your elevation. What was supposed to shame you will shine light on your strength. Every lie, every rumor, every twisted silence you endured is now being unraveled by the very hand of heaven. But don't miss this next part, because this isn't just a moment of victory. It's a turning point in your identity. You're not just surviving the trap, you're being rebuilt through it. Your dignity is not just being restored, it's being redefined. You're not going back to who you were before the setup. You're stepping into someone stronger, wiser, and fully aligned with your purpose. And yes, the setup was deeper than you thought, but so is your anointing, so is your calling, so is your protection. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them whisper, because what's coming next will make them silent. Heaven is not just clearing your name. Heaven is establishing your voice. And the beauty of this moment, you won't need to chase anyone. You won't need to explain yourself. The truth will rise like the morning sun, undeniable and impossible to cover. Psalm chapter 37 verse 6 states that he will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, your justice like the noonday sun. So walk forward. Don't rush. Don't retaliate. Stay focused. Keep your spirit steady, because the twist is not coming. It has already begun. The shift is already in motion. Heaven's order is already in motion. And when it fully reveals itself, you'll understand why you had to go through every moment, why the silence mattered, why the setup was necessary, why God had to let certain people expose their hearts without you doing anything. This moment is the revelation before your eyes. You're not just being defended, you're being unveiled. And when heaven speaks next, every lie will fall silent. There's a kind of betrayal that doesn't shout. It doesn't come with loud accusations or obvious attacks. It comes softly cloaked in smiles, wrapped in familiar voices. It walks beside you, pretends to support you, and says just enough of the right things to earn your trust. But underneath it weaves a quiet web, one thread at a time, one false word at a time. Someone close to you is placing your name into conversations where it doesn't belong. They're not doing it to defend you. They're doing it to tie your name to something dangerous. It starts with innocent stories, light banter, well-placed questions. But the more they speak, the more those pieces connect into something dark, something misleading, something designed not to break you all at once, but to trap you slowly. This isn't paranoia. It's spiritual awareness. Psalm chapter 41 verse 9 mentions that even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. They show up at odd hours, texting late at night, calling when you least expect, pretending it's all coincidence. But it's not. Their timing is too precise, almost as if they already know what's coming, as if they're watching the calendar of your life unfold before you even turn the page. The Spirit of the Lord whispers, "Your calm will confuse those who plot against you." Their presence unsettles you not violently, but subtly. You feel it in the way their eyes shift when you speak about your future, in the way they remember every detail you share, not to support you, but to report you. And here lies the heart of the trap. They're waiting for you to say yes to something small, a gathering, a request, a favor that seems harmless. But once you agree, that single yes becomes evidence, twisted, repackaged, taken out of context, used against you. Ephesians chapter 5 verses 15 to 16. Confirm that, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. They give advice, but every time you follow it, confusion follows. Not because you're lost, but because they want you to question your own voice. Their goal isn't to destroy you directly. It's to break your trust in your own discernment. Because once you doubt yourself, they don't need to do anything else. You'll sabotage yourself with hesitation and second-guessing, but not anymore. This message found you at the exact moment your soul was ready to take back control. You're not that same person they thought they could manipulate. You're not reactive anymore. You're aware. And every moment you choose stillness over panic, their strategy begins to crumble. Psalm chapter 28, verse 7 reveals that the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him and he helps me. Archangel Michael says, "Your peace is your armor." They expect panic. Give them peace. They expect explanations. Give them wisdom. They feed on your reaction. So starve the story by not giving it anything more. Even now, as you're hearing these words, something is shifting. That person, the one hiding behind the disguise, is starting to feel it. Their hearts are racing. Their secrets are trembling under the weight of truth. Their confidence is cracking, and soon they won't be able to maintain the illusion. Heaven is rearranging your timeline. Calls meant to trap you will suddenly disconnect. Plans set against you will fail to take shape. Evidence they were collecting was gone like smoke fading in sunlight. They'll be left with nothing, no proof, no story, only guilt, and the knowledge that what they tried to destroy became the very thing that proved God was with you. You will rise not defensive, not bitter, but radiant, composed, untouched. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. And the truth is, someone else has been watching all along. Not an enemy, but an ally sent by heaven. They've stayed silent until now. But their next action will bring light to everything that was kept from you. Emails, conversations, intentions, all exposed in divine order. In the next few days, you'll notice patterns. Conversations that feel like déjà vu. Certain names resurfacing, moments where you pause and say, "Haven't I seen this before?" That's not a coincidence. It's confirmation. Heaven is revealing the full map, the who, the when, the why. And once you see it clearly, it will all begin to make sense. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 14 states that for God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil. But don't prepare with fear. Prepare with peace. Because when the final truth falls, it won't harm you. It will free you. Every tear you cried in silence, every night you questioned your own intuition, every conversation you replayed in your head trying to make sense of it, they will all become evidence of your strength. And here's the part you've been waiting for. The person behind this setup, the one hiding in plain sight, will be revealed. Not just hinted at, revealed fully. Their name, their motive, their methods. And when it happens, you'll feel both shock and relief. Not because you couldn't guess, but because heaven waited for the perfect time to confirm it. You'll realize something powerful. You were never truly in danger. God was never absent. This betrayal, as painful as it has been, was always meant to bring clarity, not chaos. It was always designed to set you apart, not tear you down. Every part of the story was leading you here to this moment of understanding, healing, and divine restoration. And now, everything is about to connect. Stay here, because from this moment on, the real story begins. You're not imagining it. That unease in your chest, the restlessness in your spirit, the moments that felt off but never came with answers. They weren't random. They weren't overreacting. They were warnings, divine nudges, gentle whispers from heaven saying, "Look closer," because now the curtain is being pulled back. What once seemed scattered and confusing is about to connect into one terrifyingly clear picture. Every odd message, every shift in tone, every strange coincidence, it's all part of a calculated setup. And the most painful part, the person orchestrating it, was never far away. In fact, they stood close enough to hear your heartbeat, to earn your trust, to look you in the eyes and say they were for you while tightening the strings behind your back. Luke chapter 8, verse 17 affirms that for nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Heaven has waited until now, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because this unveiling is not just a moment of exposure, it's a moment of clarity, and it had to come at just the right time. The person you once leaned on has been carrying a secret too heavy for them to hide any longer. Their plan was never to attack you head-on. That would have been too obvious. No, their aim was more sinister, to make others believe that you were the storm. They've been gathering your words, mimicking your patterns, baiting your reactions, but not out of care. Not to understand you, to predict you, to stay one step ahead, to corner you gently until your eyes become a trap. Your silence becomes suspicion, and your loyalty becomes the very proof they twist into lies. But they've already failed. Archangel Michael speaks boldly. What they plotted in darkness is already being rewritten by divine hands. Your peace, your patience, your refusal to play into their trap, that is what's dismantling their power over you. They don't realize yet that every move they've made has only served heaven's purpose. And now the unraveling begins. Their rehearsed words will start to slip. The same lines they've fed others will no longer align. One story here, another there. And suddenly the people who once believed them will begin to doubt. Why? Because the truth doesn't need rehearsal, but lies always unravel under pressure. You'll witness it. It won't be dramatic. It'll be a quiet mistake, a misplaced word, a reaction that comes too fast, a pause where there should have been confidence. And just like that, their mask will crack, not in front of you, but in front of someone they wanted to impress. And there the light will rush in. Job chapter 12 verse 22 reveals that he uncovers deep things out of darkness and brings the shadow of death to light. But why did heaven let it go on this long? Because you needed to know who was real, who stood by you from love, and who stood beside you out of strategy, who was cheering for your healing, and who was waiting for your weakness. And now that time has come. Every false loyalty is about to be stripped away. Every pretend friend was exposed. This is not your battle to fight. Your role is not to retaliate, but to observe and rise. God is not calling you to bring vengeance. He is inviting you into revelation. Archangel Michael declares, "Let your peace be your proof. Let serenity speak louder than accusation. For those who conspire in secret always choke on their own lies." You don't need to confront. You don't need to prove. Their own words will expose them. Their own fear will betray them. Because guilt is a weight that cannot be carried for long. And it always leaks through the cracks. And then something unexpected will happen. A message, a phone call. Something that seems small, but when it comes, it will carry divine proof, the kind no one can deny. It may come from someone who once doubted you or even stood against you, but now their silence will break. Not because they care, but because their own name is now at stake. The chain reaction has begun. The betrayer has been betrayed. The circle of secrecy they built is collapsing. Someone inside their camp has spoken, and the same net they wove for you, it's closing around them instead. Thread by thread, you'll start to notice signs. Not loud, not chaotic, just little things. A name repeated, a familiar scent in an unfamiliar place, a memory rushing back without warning. These aren't just thoughts. These are spiritual confirmations. Heaven is showing you that what was hidden can no longer stay buried. 1 Chronicles chapter 28 verse 9 mentions that, "For the Lord searches every heart and understands every desire and every thought." This is the divine unveiling. The setup is breaking apart, not because you fought back, but because you didn't, because you chose integrity, because you stayed grounded, because instead of lashing out, you listened to the quiet voice of God saying, "Stand still and watch." And now everything that once felt senseless is becoming clear. This is your release from confusion, your escape from manipulation, your graduation into a season where no one has secret access to your peace anymore. The truth is here, not in the form of revenge, but in holy reversal. What they intended for damage has become a door to your freedom. What they whispered behind your back is now echoing against their own walls, and what they tried to build in secret is crumbling in public. So take a deep breath. The shift is here. And from this point forward, everything begins to align. There comes a time when silence speaks louder than accusation, and stillness becomes your sharpest weapon. You're stepping into that moment now, a divine turning point, the very hour heaven has waited for, not to punish your enemies, but to vindicate your name. Archangel Michael has declared, "Walk with grace, not anger. For those who wronged you will soon return, not out of love, but out of fear." Their apology won't be repentant, it will be panic wrapped in politeness. Their hands will tremble, not because they're sorry, but because they finally see the fire they started is now out of their control. This is your season of clarity, the sacred moment when what once felt confusing starts to make perfect sense. The webs they wove are unraveling. The twisted truths they spoke now feel thin exposed under divine light. What was meant to destroy your peace is now being recycled into wisdom. The very betrayals that left you breathless are being turned into bricks for your breakthrough. Like Daniel, you were thrown into a den meant to destroy you, but heaven shut the lions' mouths. This isn't poetic justice, this is divine precision. Heaven has not overlooked the nights you cried in silence, the moments you stayed calm while others spun lies. The restraint you showed not because you were weak, but because your spirit was wise. You didn't fight back in rage because you knew your fight wasn't against flesh and blood. You were waiting for God's justice, not man's approval. Now the shift has already begun. The one who once tried to manipulate your path, to shape your story with deceit, is watching as heaven lifts you to heights they never imagined. And in that rise, a revelation hits them like thunder. You were never just a person in their plot. You were the test they failed. And now, heaven grades their intentions not through your revenge, but through your rise. The final scene is approaching. You're standing at the edge of the story that once made no sense. And what happens next will determine who walks away free, not just in the eyes of people, but before the courts of heaven. Because the ones who set traps for you are now tangled in their own nets. And those who once walked with pride now tremble with the weight of truth catching up. Psalm chapter 103 verse 6 confirms that the Lord works righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed. Heaven is turning their silence into confession. You won't have to expose them. Their guilt is already doing the work. You'll notice the signs if you look closer. Voices shake when your name is mentioned. Their eyes dart away when you enter the room. They try too hard to act normal. That isn't awkwardness. It's guilt rising like smoke that always follows a hidden fire. This is the most delicate hour, one you must walk with divine discernment, because those who once tried to rewrite your story are now being summoned to tell the truth, and someone from their own circle will step forward. Someone unexpected, someone who once stood with them but now realizes they've been standing on sinking sand. And it won't take a grand declaration. It will come quietly. An email, a voice message, a shared screenshot, a whisper in the right ear. But it will change everything. God's justice does not require a multitude to be enacted. It demands only the precise moment orchestrated by divine wisdom. In His perfect timing, truth emerges victorious, unveiling what was hidden and exposing what was concealed. Luke chapter 12 verse 2 affirms, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." Archangel Michael. The mighty sentinel of heaven stands as a witness to this promise, his presence a testament to the power of divine revelation. Your steadfast patience, your unwavering trust in the face of adversity has set in motion a celestial unveiling. The schemes they sought to erase from memory will resurface with undeniable clarity. The whispers they exchanged in shadowed corners, believing them safe from scrutiny, will reverberate loudly in the open, their secrets laid bare for all to hear. What they attempted to bury, your truth, your purpose, your destiny, is now rising, propelled by the impeccable timing of heaven, a force no human hand can suppress. This divine timing has always been the cornerstone of their downfall, the silent key that unlocks their collapse. You may have wondered in the quiet of your heart, why did the truth tarry? Why was justice delayed when the pain was so immediate? But now, as the veil lifts, the answer becomes clear. Had the exposure come sooner, their lies might have been buried beneath a fresh layer of deception, obscured by the chaos of their counterattacks. But heaven waited, allowing their falsehoods to grow brittle, their narrative so fragile that a single misstep will shatter it. One careless word, one faltering step, and the mask they wore so confidently will slip, revealing the truth they fought to conceal. You no longer need to exhaust yourself with explanations or stand in defense of your character. The Spirit of God is your advocate, speaking on your behalf with a voice that carries the weight of eternity. Release the burden of proving yourself, for the events are unfolding as divinely ordained. This is not another battle to fight, it is your coronation, a sacred moment where heaven crowns you with the honor you were always meant to carry. Every attempt to distort your story, every effort to forge a false narrative, will be held up to the piercing light of truth. And in that light, their lies will burn, not because you sought vengeance, but because truth, like a river, always finds its way back to its source. You were never the villain in this story, nor the source of their discontent. You were the mirror, reflecting a truth so pure it unsettled them. In their attempt to shatter you, they exposed their own fragility, their own deception laid bare for all to see. Step gently now into this new season, not with the weight of bitterness or the shadow of resentment, but with the bold confidence of one who knows their worth in the eyes of heaven. What awaits you is not merely justice, it is restoration, a divine reordering of all that was disrupted. Heaven is not content to simply clear your name. It is repositioning your life, aligning you with the fullness of your purpose. Every blessing stolen in the fog of confusion, every opportunity delayed by their schemes, will return to you multiplied, carried on the wings of divine clarity. The hidden motives, the secret plans, the whispered accusations, all will bow before the authority of truth. This moment is not the conclusion of your story, but the pivotal chapter where every thread of your journey begins to weave together, revealing a narrative that makes sense in the light of God's grace. They believed they had outmaneuvered you, cornering you in a silence they mistook for defeat. They thought they could twist your calm into evidence of guilt, misinterpret your stillness as weakness, and present your peace as vulnerability. But they were blind to the greater reality, unable to see the divine hand already at work. Before their schemes could fully take root, heaven intervened, rewriting the ending with a flourish of grace and power. Their miscalculation was profound. They underestimated the God who guards your steps. They saw your quiet strength and mistook it for fragility, failing to recognize the divine protection that enveloped you. While they plotted, heaven was crafting a story of triumph, ensuring that no weapon formed against you would prosper. The stillness they tried to weaponize was not a sign of surrender, but a sacred pause, a moment where heaven gathered its forces to secure your victory. Every attempt to redefine you, to cast you as the problem, was met with the quiet resolve of a higher power. The accusations they whispered, the narratives they spun, were no match for the truth etched into your spirit by the hand of the Almighty. Now, as the light of revelation breaks through, their plans are crumbling, their words turning to dust in the presence of divine clarity. You stand not as a victim, but as a vessel of heaven's purpose, a living testament to the power of God's timing and protection. This is the dawn of your restoration, a season where every loss is redeemed and every wound is healed. The blessings that were delayed are now rushing toward you like rivers released from a dam, overflowing with the abundance of heaven's favor. Opportunities once withheld will emerge in unexpected ways, a message that carries divine encouragement, a letter that opens new doors, or a conversation that shifts the trajectory of your life. The barriers that stood firm, the doors that refused to budge, will yield under the weight of God's grace, opening pathways you could not have forged on your own. Those who once dismissed you, who overlooked your value in their haste to judge, will return with humility, their voices now laced with respect and recognition. Heaven is not only restoring what was taken, it is elevating you to a place of honor, positioning you for a future that radiates with purpose. Every moment of waiting, every season of silence was not a denial, but a divine preparation, setting the stage for a comeback that will echo through generations. This is not the end of your story. It is the moment when the narrative aligns, when the pieces fall into place, and the beauty of God's plan shines forth unhindered by the shadows of the past. This is the moment where what was hidden begins to tremble. What they built in secret is already cracking, and the very lie they crafted to cage you will become the force that sets you free. Not because you exposed them, but because God allowed the truth to speak without your voice. Deuteronomy chapter 20 verse 4 reveals that, "For the Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you the victory." Someone in authority, someone who holds power and discernment, is about to step forward. And you won't have to explain a word. They'll see it in your eyes, in your stillness, in the strength that speaks louder than any defense. The energy won't match the accusation. And truth has a vibration all its own. That vibration is echoing through your name right now, cleansing it, amplifying it, making it unshakable. Archangel Michael says, "Do not shrink under the spotlight." The same attention that once tried to shame you will now magnify your truth. The reversal is already in motion, and it will not happen quietly. It will ripple through every space where your name was misused. And as the tide turns, something even more powerful will begin to unfold. The very people who plotted against you, who played roles in the false narrative, will begin to panic. Not because you fought back, but because heaven is pulling back the curtain. One of them, maybe the last one you'd expect, won't be able to carry the weight of their own lie any longer. The moment of their downfall will not be orchestrated or anticipated. It will unfold spontaneously, catching them unaware. They will speak their truth aloud, not in private whispers, but in the presence of others, their words spilling forth like an unguarded confession. In that instant, their admission will act like a spark, igniting the unraveling of their entire web of deceit. It will not merely expose their falsehoods, but dismantle the very framework they constructed to obscure the truth, a structure built on lies, manipulation, and hidden agendas. Their collapse will not be marked by chaos or disorder, but by a divine precision, as if heaven itself has wielded a scalpel to cut away what does not belong. Every word they utter in that moment will serve as a self-inflicted wound, unraveling the illusion they so carefully crafted. Matthew chapter 12 verse 37 proclaims, "By your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. Their own tongues will become the instruments of their undoing, confirming the justice of heaven in a way that no external force could replicate." The whispers that once pierced your heart, carrying accusations and sowing doubt, will now reverberate as undeniable evidence of your innocence. Those same words once wielded to wound you will transform into a chorus that declares your vindication, echoing through the courts of heaven and earth. As this unraveling unfolds, a profound calm will settle over you, a stillness not born of suppression or resignation, but rooted in the deep assurance that comes when heaven decrees a battle won. This peace will envelop you like a sacred mantle, a tangible reminder that the conflict has been resolved in your favor. This moment marks not merely the collapse of their schemes, but the dawn of your restoration, a divine turning point where what was stolen begins to be returned. The trap they set with all its calculated malice was never intended to destroy you. It was permitted by heaven as a stage for a greater purpose. Through it, God has showcased the resilience of a spirit anchored in divine protection, demonstrating what endurance looks like when it is upheld by the unshakable hand of the Almighty. The enemy's plot, though real and painful, was but a fleeting shadow, allowed only to highlight the brilliance of heaven's plan for your triumph. As the layers of deception dissolve like mist burned away by the rising sun, you will witness the blessings of heaven begin to pour forth in swift, unstoppable waves. These will come in forms both subtle and profound. A message that arrives at precisely the right moment, a letter bearing unexpected encouragement, or a call that shifts the trajectory of your journey. One pivotal moment, orchestrated by divine timing, will realign everything, turning the tide in ways you could not have foreseen. Doors that were once slammed shut, barriers that stood firm for months or even years, will swing wide open with a grace that defies human explanation. The same individuals who once overlooked you, dismissing your worth or ignoring your presence, will return not with indifference but with respect and honor in their voices. They will see you anew, their eyes open to the light of God's favor upon you. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 10 reveals, "After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you." Every delay, Every moment of waiting, every tear shed in the silence was part of a divine setup, preparing you for a comeback that only the Creator could orchestrate, a restoration so complete it will leave no doubt of His sovereignty. Your spirit is being revitalized, infused with a renewed energy that surges like a river breaking through a dam. In the unseen courts of heaven, your name is being cleansed, purified from the stains of false narratives and unjust accusations. The story of your life is being rewritten not with the trembling ink of fear, but with the bold, unquenchable fire of divine purpose. This new chapter is not a mere recovery or a return to what was. It is a resurrection, a glorious rebirth that lifts you higher than you've ever stood. What the enemy intended as your breaking point, the moment they hoped would crush your spirit, has been transformed into your launching pad, a platform from which you will soar into the fullness of your destiny. Archangel Michael, the mighty guardian of heaven's armies, stands as a witness to this truth. What was sent to destroy you has become the very seed of your divine calling. The darkness, with all its schemes and shadows, could not bury what God had ordained to rise. You were never the target of defeat. You were the vessel chosen for victory, marked by heaven for a purpose that no force in the universe can thwart. This is the hour of your unveiling, the moment when heaven's plan comes into sharp focus. The unraveling of the enemy's schemes is not a mere end, but a beginning, a gateway to a season of abundance, clarity, and divine alignment. The whispers that once sought to define you are fading, replaced by the resounding voice of heaven's truth. The calm that rests upon you now is a foretaste of the peace that will define your future. A peace that anchors you as you step into the promises God has prepared. Every closed door, every rejection, every moment of suffering was not a denial, but a delay. A divine pause to position you for a testimony that will echo through generations. As the blessings flow, as the doors open, and as the honor returns, you will see that every trial is a thread in a tapestry of grace, woven by the hand of a God who never falters. This is not just your restoration, it is your resurrection, a living testament to the power of divine protection and the inevitability of heaven's victory. You were the evidence, the living proof that truth, when covered by heaven, is unbreakable. That silence, when anchored in faith, becomes thunder in the spirit realm. And that peace, your peace, is not passive. It's your greatest form of warfare. The person who once doubted you will speak your name differently now. Their tone will shift, their posture will change. And in that moment, you'll know this was never punishment. It was preparation. A divine process designed to reveal who you are and who they never were. The doors that once led to betrayal have been sealed forever. And in their place, a new door has opened, one that leads straight into peace. You've crossed the line. The storm didn't drown you. It purified you. You didn't break under pressure. You expanded. You are not the same. You are stronger, sharper, unshaken. The false narrative has ended. And now begins the part where your testimony becomes the story others speak of. The one who survived the setup. The one who walked through slander, betrayal, silence, and shame and came out glowing in the light of truth. And as this story unfolds, don't rush it. Let each moment breathe, because this is no ordinary recovery. This is the rise of someone chosen, refined, and released by the hand of God Himself. You are living proof that no weapon forged against you will prevail, not even those crafted in the shadows hidden from your sight. Your journey was never defined by the snares laid to entrap you. It was always destined for the triumph that follows their failure. The atmosphere around you may still carry a lingering weight, like the fading echoes of a storm that should have long since passed. But listen closely. The light is not merely on its way, it is already enveloping you, wrapping you in its radiant embrace. When this divine light dawns, it does more than expose the darkness. It transforms the very fabric of your reality. It sifts truth from deception, separating genuine loyalty from cunning facades and clarifying your purpose amidst a sea of distractions. Yes, the traps were real, meticulously planned with calculated precision. The betrayals you endured cut deeply, leaving wounds that seemed to linger. Yet far deeper than the pain was the unseen protection that never wavered. You may not have perceived the invisible shield of grace that surrounded you, an unbroken barrier woven by heaven's hand. While others conspired in secret plotting behind closed doors and whispering lies to reshape your identity, heaven stood resolute, guarding the gates of your destiny. No falsehood could breach the divine fortress erected around you. Psalm chapter 91, verse 4 confirms, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart." Pause here, beloved, and let your spirit anchor itself in this sacred moment. What lies ahead is not merely closure, but a divine reversal, a heavenly reordering of all that was meant to harm you. The winds that once carried rumors, slander, and falsehoods against your name are losing their strength, fading into silence. Where confusion once reigned, clouding your thoughts and obscuring your path, a powerful clarity is taking root, bold, unyielding, and undeniable. You stand at a pivotal threshold, a turning point where the tides of your story shift irrevocably. This is not just vindication. It is God Himself reclaiming what has always been yours by divine right. The storm that once tarnished your reputation, casting shadows over your name, is lifting its clouds, dissipating under the weight of heaven's truth. As it clears, a radiant light will rise from the wreckage, a brilliance so profound it will astonish even those who sought to bury you. This light will not shine because you proved your detractors wrong through human effort, but because God's perfect timing unveiled a truth no explanation could rival. For a season, heaven's voice may have seemed silent, leaving you to wonder why answers were delayed, why injustice was permitted to unfold in plain sight. You may have cried out, questioning the stillness, wrestling with the apparent absence of divine intervention. But now that silence is shattering, not with chaos or clamor, but with the precision of a master craftsman. Every moment of waiting, every unanswered prayer was part of a divine orchestration, setting the stage for a testimony that will echo through generations. This moment is holy ground, a sacred intersection where heaven's plan converges with your faith. The schemes that were whispered in secret, the plans woven to dim your light, are unraveling under the scrutiny of divine justice. Those who plotted against you believed their actions were hidden, their words safe from exposure. They underestimated the one who sees all, the God who guards your steps with unwavering vigilance. While they schemed, heaven was at work weaving a tapestry of protection and purpose that no human hand could undo. The lies they spoke, the narratives they crafted to distort your truth, are crumbling like fragile sandcastles before the tide of God's will. You were never abandoned, never forsaken, even in the moments when the weight of betrayal felt unbearable. The invisible shield of grace that enveloped you was not a passive defense, but an active force deflecting every arrow aimed at your spirit. Each whispered accusation, each calculated move to derail your destiny was met with the quiet strength of divine intervention, ensuring that no weapon, no matter how cunning, could prosper. As you stand in this moment, the atmosphere is shifting, charged with the promise of restoration. The heavy air that once clung to you, a remnant of battles fought in the unseen, is giving way to a lightness, a freedom that speaks of victory. The light now surrounding you is not a fleeting glow, but a transformative force reordering every aspect of your life. It illuminates the hidden corners where deception once thrived, exposing the motives of those who smiled while plotting against you. It distinguishes the faithful from the false, revealing who stood by you in truth and who wore a mask of loyalty. Most importantly, it sharpens your focus, aligning your heart with the purpose heaven has written for you. The distractions that once pulled at your attention, the doubts that clouded your vision, are dissolving in the presence of this divine clarity. You are no longer swayed by the noise of the world or the whispers of those who sought to redefine you. Your path is becoming clear, your steps steady, guided by the hand of the one who never slumbers. The reversal unfolding now is not a mere correction, but a divine reclamation, a bold declaration that what was stolen will be restored and what was broken will be made whole. The winds of rumor that once threatened to tear through your life are stilled, their power broken by the authority of heaven's truth. Where confusion once held sway, clarity now stands as a beacon guiding you forward with unwavering certainty. This is the moment where everything turns, not by chance, but by divine design. The storm that sought to obscure your name, to cast you into shadow, is dissipating, and in its wake a new chapter is emerging. The light rising from the ruins of past betrayals will shine with such intensity that it will leave no Carcassonne, a testament to the power of God's timing and grace. Those who sought to diminish you will witness a glory they could not extinguish, not because of your strength alone, but because God's purpose for you is unshakable. In the quiet of your trials, when heaven seemed to withhold its voice every moment, was preparation for this divine unveiling. Now, as the silence breaks, the precision of God's response is not a shout, but a steady, deliberate revelation, reshaping your story into one of triumph and restoration. The secrets are unraveling not chaotically, but in divine order, one by one, layer by layer. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 and 7. Confirm that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be silent and a time to speak. And now, the speaking begins. Those who once spoke lies about you are now whispering about one another. Panic has replaced their arrogance. Fear is turning on itself because what they built in darkness is now collapsing under the weight of guilt. And what they thought was a trap for you, it was always a mirror for themselves. The shift is already in motion. Even now, someone is reaching their breaking point. Not out of conviction, but out of the unbearable weight of deceit. Their mind can no longer carry what their mouth has hidden. Their silence is cracking. A confession is coming, not voluntary, but inevitable. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment. You were never abandoned in the chaos. Every silent cry, every moment of restraint was witnessed. Your tears were recorded, not forgotten, but gathered. And now, those very tears are leading justice to your door. Peace is returning, but not the kind you fight for, the kind heaven delivers when it's time. At first, it will come quietly. A sudden calm will settle on you like the moment after a long exhale, when your lungs finally remember what it feels like to breathe. Then clarity will begin to form, where confusion once reigned supreme, like a dense fog slowly lifting to reveal the landscape beneath. What was once a tangled web of misunderstandings and half-truths will now transform into a coherent picture, sharp and undeniable. Conversations that previously left you puzzled, replaying them endlessly in your mind without resolution, will suddenly start to make perfect sense, as if the missing pieces of a puzzle have finally clicked into place. Timelines that appeared fractured and disjointed, with events jumping erratically from one to another, will align seamlessly, creating a logical flow that points directly to divine orchestration. And those events that once seemed utterly random, mere accidents or strokes of bad luck, will fall into a perfect pattern, intricate and purposeful, one that only heaven could design with such precision and foresight. This is not mere coincidence or a string of fortunate happenings. It is the deliberate hand of God at work, weaving everything together for your ultimate good. That unexpected call that came at just the right moment, that familiar name reappearing in your life after years of absence, that message you didn't anticipate arriving precisely when you needed it most. All of it is heaven speaking directly to you, affirming your path. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 8 reveals that, "Now in the time of my favor I will answer you, and in the day of salvation I will help you." Your light is rising not in retaliation against those who wronged you, but in pure revelation of the truth that has always been within you. It ascends gently yet powerfully, illuminating the darkness without force or vengeance. And while your voice has remained still, choosing wisdom over hasty words, your energy has become thunder in the spirit realm, resounding with authority that echoes far beyond the physical world. You don't need to defend yourself anymore, for the battle is already won on higher ground. The evidence of truth is already vibrating through your very presence, radiating from your spirit in waves that cannot be ignored or denied. They'll try to act untouched by the unfolding events, maintaining a facade of indifference as if nothing has changed. They'll smile with forced politeness, nod in agreement to cover their unease, and pretend that everything is normal, that their schemes still hold power. But their eyes will betray them, darting away or filling with unspoken fear, revealing the turmoil beneath the surface. Their words will wobble, losing the confidence they once projected, stumbling over lies that no longer fit together smoothly. The mask they wore so convincingly will not hold under the pressure of divine light. It will crack and crumble, exposing the reality underneath. Guilt shows up where pride used to live, replacing arrogance with a heavy burden that weighs on their conscience day and night. And you'll see it plain as day, not to rejoice in their fall or gloat over their misfortune, but to recognize the profound shift of spiritual order that has taken place, a realignment where righteousness prevails. You will stand again stronger and more resolute than before, but not where they left you in defeat, not where they tried to bury you under layers of falsehood and doubt. You'll rise in the very place they swore you'd never return, reclaiming your position with grace and unyielding faith. And when you do, your steps will be grounded firmly in the truth, your peace untouchable by any external storm, and your presence unshakable, a beacon of divine strength. The very ones who mocked your pain during your darkest hours dismissed your silence as weakness or indifference, and believed the lie they crafted so carefully. They will bow their heads in humility and awe when the truth walks in, wearing your name undeniable and victorious. This next part is not mere justice served coldly. It is restoration in its fullest form, multiplied beyond measure, utterly divine in its scope and generosity. Every ounce of peace they tried to steal through manipulation and deceit. Every part of your story they attempted to erase or rewrite to suit their narrative. Every door they slammed shut in your face out of envy or malice. Heaven is reopening with overflowing blessing and abundant favor. Opportunities that were lost will return in greater abundance. Relationships strained will heal with deeper bonds, and provisions withheld will pour forth like a river. You won't have to chase it down with effort or desperation. You won't even have to lift your hand in striving, because when God restores, it comes complete, perfect in every detail, and precisely on time according to his eternal calendar. Joel chapter 2 verse 25 mentions that I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten. And so this is where the chapter turns not into a simple ending or closure of the past, but into a glorious resurrection, a rebirth of your spirit and destiny. You're not returning to who you were before the trials began, fragile or uncertain. You're stepping boldly into who you were always meant to become, fully awakened to your purpose and empowered by heaven's refinement. Your story won't just be a survival tale of enduring hardship and coming out the other side. It will be living evidence that truth always rises triumphant, no matter how deeply it was buried. It will testify that heaven always hears the cries of the righteous, responding with perfect timing. And that light, real divine light, emanating from the throne of God, never stays hidden for long, breaking through even the thickest veil of deception. And now, as the final curtain of this long and painful chapter is being pulled back slowly and deliberately, let this be your sacred moment of understanding, a holy pause to absorb the depth of what has transpired. The moment when all the chaos that swirled around you like a relentless storm, all the betrayal that cut deep into your trust, all the confusion that clouded your judgment, and all the silence you maintained in faith finally reveal their profound purpose, transforming from sources of pain into pillars of strength. You have not just survived, you have been refined. This entire journey wasn't punishment, it was preparation. A divine furnace designed not to burn you, but to reveal the gold within. Every trap they set, every whisper they spread, every twisted silence they used against you has now been exposed by the timing of heaven. It wasn't delayed justice, it was divine precision, because truth doesn't panic and light never rushes. You were never merely a victim in someone else's plot. You were heaven's witness in the making, and now the evidence of your endurance, your character, your restraint, and your faith is speaking louder than any defense ever could. Archangel Michael speaks clearly. Remember this: the battle is already won, the trap is already broken. The reason you're still standing is because you were chosen to prove that purity cannot be imprisoned. That's why you didn't collapse when the weight of falsehood pressed against you. That's why you still had breath after night, soaked in silent tears. The lies couldn't crush you because your identity wasn't built on man's perception. It was anchored in God's promise. And now, one by one, the chains of deceit that tried to bind your reputation are breaking quietly, unstoppably. Heaven has stepped in not just to defend you, but to redefine you in the eyes of those who once doubted. The same rooms that hosted your humiliation will soon witness your honor. The same mouths that mocked you will now speak your name with reverence, not because you forced them to, but because truth has a voice that cannot be silenced. What comes next is not a fight, it's a flow, an unfolding of divine order. You don't need to raise your voice, defend your past, or explain your journey. Heaven has already declared your freedom. Your name has been lifted from the dust and written anew in places of influence and favor. And from this day forward, your name will carry a new vibration, one of authority, respect, and restoration. The power of your story will not just be in what happened to you, but in what God did through it. That's why the enemy couldn't stop you, because you weren't being punished, you were being positioned. If you're wondering what to do next in your daily life, let it be this. Walk quietly but boldly into every room. No more shrinking, no more second-guessing your worth. Live with integrity. Speak with wisdom and act from peace, not panic. Choose silence when needed, but speak truth when prompted. Pay attention to patterns, not just words. Let discernment guide your relationships. Nurture your inner peace daily through prayer, reflection, journaling, and scripture. Guard your energy. Protect your mind, and most of all, never lower your light to match someone else's darkness. The betrayal was never about you. It was about what you carried. And now that light is unchained, the message will come. The sign will be clear. And when it arrives, perhaps from a stranger, a long-forgotten name, or a random moment, it will confirm what your spirit already knows. You were never the target of destruction. You were the vessel of revelation. As Archangel Michael whispers once more, walk into your next chapter quietly, with your head high and your heart unshaken. You don't need to explain, prove, or fight anymore. The world will now see who you truly are. Chosen, protected, unstoppable. This isn't the end of a struggle. This is the beginning of a reign. The last piece of deception is collapsing, and your truth is emerging brighter, purer, stronger than ever. So remain still. Victory isn't coming. It's already here. Your life now stands as living proof that no trap can defeat truth. And what was meant to bury you has become the very soil where heaven crowned you. And from this moment forward, every attempt to harm you will only become fuel for your rise. Your peace is your power. Your endurance is your testimony. Your silence has become thunder. And your story, now rewritten by the hand of God, will be the fire that lights the way for others walking through the shadows you once faced. Beloved, if you felt the sting of betrayal, the ache of silence, and the weight of being misunderstood, then this moment is for you. This is more than a prayer. This is a declaration, a holy realignment. Heaven's justice is unfolding in your favor. Let us now enter into sacred space. Heart open, spirit still, as we pray together for clarity, protection, and justice. Father God, we come before you in reverence, in awe of your sovereignty and trust of your timing. Lord, you see all things. You hear what is whispered in the dark, and you shine light into every corner hidden from human eyes. You are not a God who sleeps or forgets. You are the defender of the innocent, the judge who sits high and looks low. Today we place our hearts on the altar, asking for your divine justice. Lord, the trap was real, but so was your protection. The betrayal stung, but your grace wrapped around us like armor. When the whispers rose, you recorded our tears. When our name was twisted, you preserved our truth. Now we ask, let your hand move. Let your justice speak. Expose every hidden agenda. Let no lie go undetected. May the schemes of the enemy be dismantled by your light. Let confusion be turned into clarity. Let shame be transformed into elevation. We silence the voice of the accuser and command every false narrative to bow at the feet of Jesus. Where our silence was twisted into guilt, Lord, restore our voice. Your word says no weapon formed against us shall stand. So we stand in our inheritance not as victims, but as children of the Most High. Not reactive, but radiant, not bitter, but bold. Father, we lift up every name spoken in betrayal, every alliance formed in deception. We release vengeance and we receive revelation. May those who conspired in secret come to terms with truth, not through our wrath, but through their own unraveling. Let guilt rise and confession pour out. Let what they meant for harm be used for good. Let the tables turn in silence. Let discernment guide our every move. May we be slow to speak but quick to see. Anoint our eyes to detect the spirit behind the smile. Let every flattery that carries poison be exposed. Guard our hearts from re-entering what you have already delivered us from. Shut the doors that once led to betrayal. Open the gates of peace. Lord, we call back our power. Every piece of ourselves we lost, trying to explain. Every moment of dignity we surrendered, trying to prove. Every opportunity blocked by falsehood, redeem it. Multiply it. Let this be the season of divine reversal. We declare now the storm is lifting, the trap is breaking, the setup is failing, our peace is returning. The Holy Spirit saturates every corner of our lives. Shift atmospheres, redirect conversations, cancel plots, reposition us in places of favor and purpose. Where we were discredited, give us divine credibility where we were dismissed. Seat us at new tables. Just as you raised Joseph from the pit to the palace, raise us into alignment with destiny. What was meant to silence us will now amplify our voice for the kingdom. What was meant to bury us has become the very soil from which our purpose grows. And Lord, to the one in authority, the one who holds the key to truth's release, awaken their spirit. Let their eyes pierce through deception. Let their heart beat in rhythm with justice. Cause them to act with boldness and discernment. We will not rush this season. We will not retaliate. We will not react. We will rest in the quiet confidence that declares heaven is working. Archangel Michael, warrior of the Most High, stands guard over us. Shield us from retaliation. Whisper strength into our spirit. Strike down every arrow of manipulation and confusion. Let our stillness be our loudest answer. Father, we thank you not just for what you are about to do, but for what you have already done. We thank you for preserving our name, protecting our peace, and positioning us for restoration. We walk forward not in fear, but in faith. Because what was sent to destroy us became the seed of our destiny. And what was done in darkness can no longer stay hidden. We receive it now. We believe it now. We seal it now in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you for praying with me today. Let this prayer be a weapon in your spirit and a whisper in your soul. You are not alone. You are not unseen. Justice is coming, and it is divine. Type in the comments below, "Justice is coming." I received it. Amen.